Hey, what's up guys, it's C-Stacks here, and today I am joined by the second place finisher from the Vegas Regional, Robby Stewart. How you doing?
What's going on? Doing good.
So today we're going to take a look at Robby's Iron Man deck that he took to a second place finish at the Vegas Regional last weekend against a field full of Valkyries, which was widely considered to be the best deck in an outrider mayorless format. But before we do that, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, maybe give us a little bit of your background in games?
Yeah, what's going on, everybody in the Versus world? I've been playing games forever. Did Yu-Gi-Oh! Way back in the day. Duel Masters, Kaijudo. Played the WoW TCG for quite a long time. On and off competitively as it all goes. So, and it's just done Versus since the beginning. So I attended the Thanos Con, I think everyone calls it. Got destroyed. And then actually finally got to go to Vegas and actually did okay. So yeah, that's just a quick rundown. So.
And so you'd been kind of off and on out of Versus for like the last year, right?
Yeah, our just local scene, yeah, just on and off. So just as life, unfortunately. So it was good to actually go compete competitively. So it was a last minute thing to even go to Vegas. So I was glad I got to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there was a lot of conversation going on around the Vegas Regional. Obviously, there was the Outrider and Mayor ban, and then the Spider-Man set that was intended to be legal for this event that ended up not being legal, obviously. We'll start with like the Outrider Mayor ban. Did that affect you in any way? Did you get a chance to play with those cards even, or did you just how'd that go for you?
Funnily enough, I was when all that came. Obviously, it didn't affect me a ton, just because we didn't get to test as much. But I even remember thinking when I saw that, I was like, oh man, I would really like to go to the Vegas Regional. I think it'd be a fun, different, interesting format without the Outriders. I thought a lot more MCs could be playable. So when it all wound up working out, I was just super excited to see that because I just think Outriders are so oppressive. So. And then, of course, that interaction with the Mayor Wilkins parallel dimension, I think creates a negative play experience. So, I'm going to give it to Ryan on that one. I agree with it. So, it didn't affect me too bad overall, though.
Yeah. And what about the friendly neighborhood set, which was completely out of Ryan's control and all that? But
yeah.
Did you test with those cards a lot? Did that throw a monkey wrench into your plans?
A bit. It didn't affect me too bad. I think it definitely would have if I'd known more cards and I had known, okay, hey, these could have definitely shown up. But we didn't get too deep into testing with them. Probably 4 or 5 games. And then, it was like I needed to test without it as well. And then shortly after that, they made the formal announcement that it wasn't going to be legal. So not too much time wasted on that.
Okay, well, good. So let's run down this list real quick, and then you can tell us a little bit about your testing and how it led you to this list, and then we'll go round by round and how it performed.
Yeah.
But I'll just run it off real quick. So this is MCU Heroes Iron Man. It's 2 Goose, 1 Happy Hogan, 4 Yondu, 4 Maria Hill, 4 Falcon, 4 Mordo, 4 Winter Soldier, 4 Killmonger, 4 Iron Man supporting character, 3 Bruce Banner. The twists are 4 You're the Last One, 4 Friend from Work, 4 Life on the Hellmouth, and 2 Sokovia Accords. And then the locations are 4 Avengers Tower, 4 Academies, which are yellows, and 4 Laboratories, which are blues. So tell us how you ended up getting to this list. What was your testing like?
Well, so, not being on and off, unfortunately, with playing, I just kind of gravitated to a deck that I was familiar with in the beginning, and that was just Iron Man. Theory crafted a deck. I was like, I think this is solid enough. What really drew me to it initially was the interaction with You're the Last One. I was like, oh, that's a really good way to keep counters on Iron Man and prolong the game out. So that was kind of like my initial thoughts on it. And then it wound up just working out. So through testing, found out he could hang with Valkyrie a bit. So through more and more testing, I just kind of thought, I need to put together efficient cards, good cards, and play my strategy to win. And just because of the lack of just me being involved, when I saw the Valkyrie lists and saw the different decks, I straight up knew, I was like, you know what, I am not prepared nor experienced enough at the moment to be able to play a Valkyrie mirror match. even during testing, when I had lost like 6 in a row with this Iron Man list, I sat there. I was like, I don't think I have it. I don't think I got the time nor the skill at the moment to be able to switch like that. So I altered the deck to be able to counter Valkyrie a little bit here and there, lower the curve to be able to keep up pace. Initially, this had a much higher curve. You'll notice the lack of 5 and 6 drops in here. I originally did have 5s and 6 drops. I just felt like they weren't impactful and felt like I was sitting on them and just getting torn to pieces and not being proactive. So that's what kind of led me to it. There would be some minor adjustments for sure. Obviously, hindsight's 20/20 in every tournament. But that's kind of what led me to land it. It was just something familiar, semi-straightforward, but not straightforward enough that there was plenty of lines of plays that I could still make decision-making too. So, that's kind of how I came to it. Testing was, obviously, we knew Valkyrie was going to be the big one. I although we didn't play competitively as much as I'd love to, I still kept up, still saw the trend lines, knew that was going to be a big deal. Saw, what happened at Midwinter, Odin, and just the other decks that it was. So as we went through testing, obviously Valkyrie was the one we grinded a lot of games with, like 20 games of just grinding Valkyrie. The first basically 10 I got slaughtered, and then I changed the list up, and then I found it could hang. And then occasionally you're just going to get, they draw a nutty hand. That's just what happens. But I could find out it could hang, and I thought it was good enough and had enough strong individual cards that it could handle some of the more, I think, random or nuanced decks that I would see. So, yeah.
A couple of things I wanted to ask you about that some people might consider like the obvious Iron Man cards that are missing here. There's no like Killian or Grandmaster or anything. Was that an effort to play more towards the You're the Last One strategy, or what's up with that?
Actually, yeah, it was to play more towards that. So when I was first thinking, obviously I thought this would be faster. If I thought Odin would show up, which actually wound up happening, You're the Last One would let me hang on longer. I might be able to trade here and there, but it was just, I felt more important and more consistent to just have the pumps, have the combat cancels, and sit back. I tested Grandmaster, thought it was okay. Had a Killian list beforehand that was a lot more superpower focused, but I felt like the draws were less consistent. As far as getting a couple pumps, staying on it, and letting the game ride out a little bit longer to the mid game. I'd call this way more of a mid-range deck than I'd call it anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it worked out for you. So go ahead and tell us about your experience in the Vegas Regional and how your day went. Maybe a short round by round kind of a thing.
Yeah, no. So when I first got there, I was like, man, I have no clue what's going on, what we're doing. So it was good to do some competitive. I want to just shout out to Ryan Rober. He ran a fantastic tournament, did a really great job. Going back and watching the stream, I had no idea you were streaming, so that was hilarious. I was giving you play-by-plays on the rounds, and you were seeing most of it. So I was dying laughing later. But it was a great tournament. They did a fantastic job. I know there's a lot of things out of his control, so he did a great job for what he had and made it very entertaining. It was a lot of fun. So round one, I guess I played against the People's Champion, as he's called, Burt, and he was playing Valkyrie. And I guess I stole the title from him because I mollywopped him a little bit due to a brick. So I guess now I'm the People's Champion a bit there. But he just didn't really get anything going. I hit a yellow or two, got stuff out, and I just just hit wounds. I can't remember if he even wounded me. I think he did get one, but it was a good game. But he didn't hit a very fast hand to overpower me. Round two, played against Vision. Scott, he had a great list. I was actually super in love with his list. I was like, oh my gosh, that's great. I can't believe I didn't have time to sit there or think about that. But he just wasn't able to stick enough on the board to level efficiently or get the lone gunman package off. I was able to pick off a Cordelia, and that really just halted a lot of his momentum. And eventually I stuck a Mordo down, and that was pretty much it. Round three, I played against Ralph. He can claim he bricks. I bricked that game, and he just turned one, Frohickey, discarded a Langley, 2 Valkyries for level up, and it was just downhill from there. It was a very high variance hand, and I got just destroyed. Ironically enough, I had tested actually that Ultron Lone Gunman package together. Bobby, one of our other testing partners, had put it together. Not the exact list, but something very similar. And Iron Man could hang as well. It was just one of those rounds it wasn't going to happen. So round 4, I played against Adam Logan, another Valkyrie. And it was a little bit more back and forth. I think he got me to 4 wounds before I just solidified with Iron Man. At the time, I didn't know he wasn't playing Sokovia Court, so I was being real cautious on yellows against it. But it wound up obviously working out. I stuck a Happy Hogan eventually, and it just ran away with the game. And then you guys all got to see on stream against Odin with that awesome last play of just sitting on last one and letting that happen. And it was a really good game. Totally didn't prep for that correctly at all. The Odin we put together was nowhere near that list. But I'm glad it gave me the general sense of how to play against it, and I think that wound up helping me a lot that round. Then in top 4, you guys saw it. I got to play Adam again. Now that I knew he didn't have a Sokovia Accords, I just was like, I think I forgot halfway he didn't have it, and I was still playing around it. But in the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna pump up as big as possible, and I don't have to play around it. So. And then I wish I could have played out the finals. That was totally on me. I think it would have been a good match, definitely much more even, I think. It would have been really, really good. So it was a fun tournament. I really wish I could have played out the finals. I'm still kicking myself on it, but life happens, unfortunately. So, but yeah, that was the day. It was tons of fun. Had a great time. Everyone was super nice. No saltiness in the room over wins or losses. Some good, crap talking back and forth to everyone, which is always fun. But it was just a good tournament. It was a good time.
Yeah, I definitely think in this case you are the people's champion, taking Iron Man all the way to the finals. In a field of Valkyries, which a lot of people probably predicted would be kind of the tier 1 main character of this format, and it turned out to be the case. But then Iron Man took it all the way, which was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was definitely the way, and I think some tech choices. I think some other MCs could have hung as well. Obviously Valkyrie's very powerful, and I think if there was appropriate tech for it, it would have really made a difference. I saw it getting beat here and there all day as well, not just in mirror matches by other decks. Odin was one I saw round 1. Wound up he actually beat the winner round 1, I believe in time, but yeah, he was able to get there. So I mean. It's a very strong deck, no doubt about it. But I think it is beatable, and it's definitely tier 1. But I think there's some other ones that can hang with it. So,
yeah, a couple highlight cards. Other than obviously you're the last one. I saw Falcon, which is a card that I've never been a super big fan of, be super relevant in the Valkyrie matchup because they just can't get around it a lot of times.
It put in a lot of work. I actually was stronger than Mordo. Mordo was one of the weaker ones throughout the day. He was really there for I consider the random matchups. You play the Dormammu, you really want to sit on it, or it was decent against Vision. But Odin, ton of the other matchups it didn't. Falcon was putting in work. I was very surprised about that as well.
And then in a world where Killmonger is kind of the go-to 4-drop now, Winter Soldier kept being super, super strong. It plays around you're the last one, Sokovia Accords. That card I saw put in so much work on the stream all day.
It was insane how good it was. And just being able to sit back, range attack, safe attack, you go minimum 9 on a level 2, it's just it just lets you pop off some of those big cards that you weren't going to be able to, especially if they're playing a twist with it. So and then of course obviously guaranteeing the stun against Odin in that final stream, or the first stream there, was super important.
Oh, yeah. How good was Bruce Banner on 7 as opposed to something else like Ego?
He was, it was kind of one of those things I felt like I was like almost obligated to play it, and that was one of the things that probably would have cut one, put in another goose, and I even thought about it before the tournament after we finished testing, but I was kind of having one of those, well, it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of things. So I definitely would have cut it down to 2. But Bruce Banner is a good card. I mean, he can get bigger than Captain Marvel. Ego is ego. I mean, no doubt about it. I think if you're looking for just a generically good, 7-drop, Ego's superior for sure. But I was like, I gotta cheese it with Bruce Banner. It was just that interaction is super cute, and he is a strong card. I mean, he did come down, then allow me to sit back and just really work with it. And he gets out of hand. Unfortunately, it didn't happen much on stream, but during testing, there was many times he just clinched it. They just couldn't get past it. When you're sitting on, Mordos or other Killmongers, it was good. I probably would have cut a copy and just really done 2, but it was good enough to get there.
Yeah, yep. So changes you might make after the fact. You said you wanted to squeeze in maybe one more Goose.
Yeah, I'd cut a Bruce Banner, put in the Goose. Surprisingly, during testing, Life on the Hellmouth was solid. I kind of just looked at it as a power-up with a bonus. It was... I don't think I drew it enough throughout the day, but the times I did, it was much more of a bricky hand. I don't know what I would change. Sokovia Chords honestly didn't do a ton for me. I was able to do a lot of solos, and especially in the Valkyrie matchup. It wasn't terrible. It was really good to be able to get around the Lone Gunman newsletter. Round 4 against Adam, he was playing that, trying to go for an important stun, and I was able to burn a Sokovia Chords and then play a combat cancel. So, minor tweaks at best. You could go fit in, a better 3-drop if you're feeling like it, or maybe a little bit more mid-game if you wanted. I think Photo has really garbage 5s and okay 6s. I think I would have played Spider-Man if he was there, or maybe would have stuck in a Vulture or 2 if we were allowed to. But yeah, that's what we're working with. So again, minor tweaks. I think this is a really solid core list for what it was at the time. And if it was a format like that again, solid list for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It did its job. You and Bobby putting in the work. Shout out to Bobby, grinding out those Valkyrie games, and it really paid off.
Oh, without a doubt. Without y'all helping me test on this, it would have been nowhere near, because I felt this was one of the first tournaments in a long time I really walked in feeling comfortable. Like, I was like, okay, I know if I'm going to play these things, I know what to do. I know what to play around. I know how to play it. And it was almost like second nature. So that kind of leads me to that second little tangent here of that. I think that's a big reason why we don't see more MCs, is just testing groups and being able to actually grind those games out and see what works and what doesn't. We just have such a huge option of MCs. Some of them obviously terrible, but some that are more on the ropes. So
yeah, it's a good point, because there were only 12 players, and like half of that came from like a couple of play groups who all play together and test together. So I think that's why you see the meta shift in that kind of way towards Valkyrie, because it's kind of a safe call. And
yeah, it is. It is a very safe call too. I mean, it's clearly a powerful deck. So it was, not everyone put in 20 games against Valkyrie to be able to know how to play a particular MC against this matchup, and have enough to where you feel comfortable enough in the other matches to do it. So I totally get it and understand it. I'm glad I was able to show that it can be done, and that she wasn't just the end all be all of it.
Yeah, well, anyway, congrats again.
Thank you.
Bringing the Thanos mat home to Texas.
It was nice. Don't worry, now I can just play on that instead of my 2-player one. So. I heard that. Don't worry. So I'll play on my Thanos mat for now. But.
All right. Well, congrats again.
Thank you.
And
shout out to everybody. Congratulations to everybody in there. So really appreciate y'all letting me come and steal second place from y'all. I appreciate it. I'm just kidding. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for talking to us, new People's Champion.
Thank you. Yeah, Burt's been retired, so it sucks for him.
Yeah, he's played meta at the last 2 events. He's out. Robbys
he's out. It's me. I'm the new flavor, so.
All right, well, that's going to do it this time. Shout out to everybody else who did well. Shout out to Patrick and the rest of the top 4 players, Adam and Ralph. Shout out to Bobby Brake for helping us test out the Iron Man list. And that's going to do it. We'll see you guys next time.